What did Don't Change Much mean to you, Nick?
Yeah, I think it's not reinventing the wheel to me. I think it's been sticking to good daily habits of if it's diet, exercise, small things. I've One of the things that James Clear I talked about earlier was the hardest thing to do, say if you go to the gym, is putting your shoes on to go to the gym. It's not actually getting to the gym. A lot of it's been 1% of stuff this year and just trying to sticking to that. So it hasn't been huge changes, but in the end, it's been pretty monumental for my career so far.
Hi there, my name is Dan Murphy, and you are listening to the Don't Change Much podcast. We're super excited to welcome our guest today, Nick Taylor. Nick is a pro golfer who's played on the PGA Tour since 2015. He's also a husband and a father of two. He joins us on the heels of a historic win at the Canadian Open, the first Canadian in 69 years to win on home soil. Nick's success has him currently ranked inside the top 50 of the official world golf rankings. Changed in the offseason, or what improvements did you make off the course in terms of different mental preparation, perhaps, mind coaches and things like that?
Chris Bertram's a good friend of mine, and he's definitely gone to the mental performance side of golf. And so we sat down and he's, we're going to do this. Let's put together a plan. Let's do this full time. And I was all in. And so a lot of it has been that 1% type stuff, kind of daily routines, shifted a little bit to put everything focused towards the end goal is be as best I can be. And a lot of it would be from simple diet things to routines and movements in the gym, sticking to the process and doing that over and over again. And I feel like I've been really consistent with that, especially probably since January, but it all really started in September. And one of the first things we did was a lot of mindfulness stuff and just being aware of kind of where my thoughts are going, aware of where I am on the golf course, off the golf course. And so it's been baby steps, and he's probably taken it slow with me, but I felt like the process has really turned out definitely in the long run.
What about goal setting? Is that something you do prior to a season? Does that change as the season goes on? Are these things you write down or discuss with Chris, perhaps?
We definitely talked about our goals this year. I don't know if I necessarily wrote them down. I think a lot of the stuff, like I said, that I wanted to shift was daily process type goals, narrowing my focus, be a little bit better on that daily. And so that's where I think a lot of my goals have been. Stick to if it's having athletic greens in the morning, if it's having a cold shower, if it's being have a little self-awareness, doing certain things, breathing techniques, sticking to my drills with golf. I feel very consistent on things that we know is working for me. So that's probably been the biggest goals. Result goals are great. I've always liked to have those as well, but I think I've started to realize that if I stick to my process goals and really diligent about doing them, then the results will kind of take care of themselves. And that's, I think, why this year I've probably been the best at getting the results that I want.
Like to keep some things fresh so the motivation stays high?
Totally. I've probably been repetitive saying sticking to the process, but I think this year it's been easy to stick to that because I've had the results showing for it. You know, if there's whatever you're doing in your career, if things aren't showing, then I think absolutely need to spice things up. I remember seeing a quote that motivation is an emotion and it's not reliable, which I thought was very interesting. So if you have those process goals or processes that you do in the morning, regardless of how you feel, once you get in those good routines, it takes care of itself. So that kind of stuck with me where I felt like I've always been a relatively motivated person, but there's certain times where I wake up in the morning and I have no interest to do X, Y, and Z that I plan to do that day. But if you have those daily habits and they get ingrained, it's easier to stick to them. You feel like I did the day before when I felt like doing it. If I don't feel like doing it today and I push through, I know it'll feel better by the end of the day. That's what I've been trying to stick to.
How does your support system, family, your team, how much do they contribute to your on-course success?
Oh, it's massive. Start with family, like Andie, the support that she's given me at home or at the course is second to none. I feel like, family is so important to me, but also, like I said, I have to be selfish when we're on the road, stick to my schedule, and it can be tough on her. I know that they're there to support me, and I want them there. So it's not easy when they're out there necessarily, but being together is definitely important to us. All the coaches that I've had on my team, Dave Markle is my caddy. They're there to try to make the best out of what I can be, and all of their influence, their help, the hours that they've put in is massively important to all the success.
Your priorities change a little bit. So how have you managed to balance work, life, father, husband? Has it been
Yeah,
difficult at times?
certainly. I think with everybody in mind, I want to spend time with my kids. I also want to be as best as I can be on the golf course. I want to be around for my wife to help her, for us to spend time together. So it's definitely prioritizing your time and really trying to condense things to be as efficient as possible. So I think I've gotten better over that. It's definitely all about me on the road. So I definitely probably have to be a little more selfish than some would be, especially when I'm at home. I felt like probably my practice habits have changed the most. Just being at home, I'll just carve out a few hours a day around nap times and such like that. But to get things done in an efficient manner and feel like I'm prepared going to next week is important. So just being more timely is definitely part of the reason why that's going on.